interestingly enough, today is World Diabetes Day, where they're trying to get out there and educate people about what's happening in the world of diabetes. Recent report this morning on the forum. I've seen it all over the news today. 2030. It's thought that 50% of the population possibly could have diabetes. We want to talk to you a little bit about, hey, what can you do to prevent that? And if you feel like maybe it's starting to come that way, or maybe you've been slightly diagnosed. I don't even know if you can get a slight diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, but Spencer Berry is going to give us some ideas and some thoughts on how you can prevent it or at least begin to reverse it, assuming that's possible. Dr. Berry, thanks for coming in studio. World Diabetes Day. Again, we've talked about you with this before, but we always have new listeners tuning in here to the Chris Berg Show on the We the People Network. If you can, real quickly, the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes so people can understand.
Thank you much, and it's good to be with you, Chris. Yes, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, obviously the two varieties, of which in the worldwide and in the United States specifically, about 90 to 95% of diabetes is type 2 and not type 1. Type 1 is a situation where the body does not produce enough or any insulin. Those individuals need to take insulin every day, usually through the injectable form. In this situation, current knowledge, we do not know what causes this, nor do we know how to prevent this at this time. But type 2 diabetes, which is a situation where the body usually has enough, if not too much insulin, but the body does not efficiently use the insulin. And therefore, and this is for a variety of reasons, but because of this inefficient use of insulin, the body has to produce extra insulin, and it's the extra insulin along with the high blood sugars that result that cause a myriad of health problems. And so this is 90 to 95% of diabetes in the United States. And the good news is that this is largely a preventable disease, something that most people don't realize, but type 2 diabetes, largely preventable.
Any questions or comments? Again, it's becoming much more of a pervasive problem. I think a lot of us even realize if you have any questions or comments for Dr. Berry, you can call in 888-598-8464. 271-1100. Again, locally, 271-1100. Tommy was just in my ear and said, there are people that also can be what's called borderline type 2 diabetes. What does that mean specifically, and how do you begin to reverse that?
Well, again, that's the transition, the so-called borderline diabetes. For many years, folks have said, we felt that you're either diabetic or you're not. It's a yes or no phenomenon. The reality is that there is a progression. And a situation that, again, folks call borderline diabetes, or what we call impaired glucose tolerance, is a situation, this basically is an intermediate condition in the transition from being normal to having diabetes. This is where an individual's blood sugar, when tested in the morning, is higher than normal, but yet not at the threshold for the diagnosis of diabetes. There's that intermediate level, and so that's what most folks refer to. Now, those folks, that is a real wake-up call, because that's a situation in which they are at very high risk to go on to develop type 2 diabetes, but it is not inevitable. They can make some changes that can actually reverse that.
And those changes would be what specifically?
Well, the major cause of type 2 diabetes, over 80% of the type 2 diabetes in the United States and worldwide is related to excess body fat, or excess body weight, but specifically excess body fat. So therefore, the main things that are focused on are maintaining a healthy body weight, eating a good, nutritious, healthy diet, and becoming physically active. Those three things, in and of themselves, will, in essence, prevent about 80% of the causes of type 2 diabetes.
Again, Dr. Spencer Berry with us. He's with FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. Again, FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. I want to talk a little bit more about the nutrition aspect, Dr. Berry, in just a moment. Got an email that came in here from Michelle. Michelle, thanks for the email. Dear Chris, love your show. I'm a type 2 diabetic and have been keeping it at bay for 23 years. 2 years ago, it set in permanently, and I went on metformin twice daily. I'm extremely active. I hate medicating myself, so looked for natural, found stinging nettle, or what we call burning weed. We have a farm and it grows everywhere, so I collected, dried it, made a tea, went off my meds September 1st, and I've reversed it so far. That's awesome. Talk to us about maybe some natural ways or just some nutritional things as well that Michelle or other people can be doing to help reverse this.
Well, exactly. We're finding, again, in the old Hippocrates way back when said, let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. They knew this long before double-blind studies, but basically we're finding out a lot of things that will help health in general. As it relates to this situation, there's not a lot of research, and again, we're looking at the studies that to show as to you mentioned nettle, as to that particular compound. But in general, individuals that reduce body fat and begin eating a healthier dietary regimen, which we're finding out more and more about, and becoming more and more physically active. Just physical inactivity in and of itself, sedentary lifestyle. And we're not talking about training for the Olympics or a marathon or this type of thing. We're talking about getting up, becoming more active, your activities of daily living, walking more, going up and down the stairs, just things to keep you moving.
Talk to me, though, about some of the specifics from a nutritional standpoint. Again, Dr. Spencer Berry with us, FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. Again, FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. And I want to get some ideas about some specifics that people can do. And one of the things, Doc, as you can see here that I do, if for those of you tuned in on We the People TV, I've got this green drink. It's called Super Greens that I drink daily. And I got to tell you, Doc, when I'm drinking this, I think better. I can feel myself functioning better. But when I'm off it, because what this does essentially is it alkalizes your blood. It gives you the greens that you need to help keep your cells working properly. I can definitely tell a huge difference. Is that some of the things you suggest? Is, hey, make sure you get plenty of greens in your system and things of that nature, or what are some of your suggestions?
Well, Chris, I'd have to know specifically what you have in that bottle. But as it relates to nutrition, there is no question that we're finding out more and more all the time. And in America, number one, we usually take in far in excess of the number of calories that we need to keep us going on a daily basis. We have a little bit of a stilted idea of how many calories we need to take in, but also as important to that is what kinds. And we're very deficient generally in the amounts of proteins. We're not taking in, whether it be through fish, pork, beef, chicken, poultry, those types of things versus plant versus dairy. Those are all fine. Proteins are good. But the bottom line, for the most part, is the middle of the grocery store, that area that has a lot of the calorie-dense, high carbohydrate, and especially the high fructose corn syrup type products. Those are the things that we take in far in excess, too many carbohydrates, specifically the refined carbohydrates, and in fact, those get turned to fat within the body. So, in fact, a high carbohydrate diet is a high fat diet.
Dr. Spencer Berry, again, you can learn more at FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. I know, Doc, one of the things that you have at Fargo Medical Weight Loss is a body composition analysis, super simple. Is that something where, if someone's sort of thinking, hey, you know what, I'd like to lose some weight, maybe I'm on this borderline type 2 diabetics, can this body composition analysis help analyze that and tell me if I'm a borderline diabetic, or what does it do exactly and how does it work?
Yes, the body comp machine that we have, again, very simple, painless, and quick, but very accurate in terms of dividing out our lean body mass and our fat mass. And many times, the majority of individuals that get on the machine and actually have this performed are shocked that they have as much body fat as they do. And it's very, like I say, very accurate in analyzing this. What we find is that as a natural situation with aging, we tend to decrease our lean mass or our muscle. That just tends to be something that happens as we age, especially through adult and middle-age years and on into our older years. Now, that is preventable, but individuals need to know that it's there, and we have many folks get on the machine that don't realize that how much body fat percent they have, and that is what's causing a lot of the cellular inflammatory things that are increasing these chronic illnesses like the arthritis and some of the other, again, chronic disease manifestations that we see. So, again, it's very helpful for people to actually see it. I'm a real believer that seeing is believing, whether you see it graphically on a data chart or whether it's something that you can see in a readout. Once you see it, we tend to realize, yeah, that's really there, as opposed to being simply told.
And I think it's a great way to just sort of analyze, hey, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go, and that's the beauty, again, of your program, is it's customized individually for each person that walks in. It's not just a Weight Watchers deal or whatnot, but you guys sit down and really customize this program. And the girl across in one of our sister stations, the Eagle, she's lost, I think, 12 pounds in the first 4 weeks, so it's been great for her. Again, Dr. Spencer Berry here in studio. You can learn more at FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com, FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. Anything else you want to share, Doc?
Well, again, it's about percentage of body weight. Again, that's where the body comp will help us, but also, as you mentioned, it is an individualized situation for each person, which takes into account their medical issues. And we look at what is a good, healthy body weight for an individual. We determine what that is, and again, it has to do with percentages of weight loss, not so much actual pounds. We're looking to say if somebody starts at 200 and a healthy body weight would be, say, 160 pounds, that's somebody that's looking at losing 20% of their body weight. So that's how we try to gauge the amount of time and what is healthy in that particular situation, and how we can keep that ongoing. Again, it's not about the weight you lose, it's about the weight that you keep off. And so I care more about what you weigh 3 years from now than what you weigh next February 1st.
Dr. Spencer Berry, again, with FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com. Michelle, thanks for the great email. Congratulations on that. And, I love the idea of, hey, let your food be your medicine be your food. I don't think there's anything better than the pharmacology of the brain and the natural body. You can see what all the meds typically do to us individually. So go in and see Dr. Berry, FargoMedicalWeightLoss.com.